For more than 100 years, something has been living inside the glow of Betelgeuse, one of the brightest, most watched stars in the night sky. Astronomers suspected it long before they could prove it. They pointed some of the most powerful telescopes ever built directly at the star and found nothing. Then, in less than 2 years, that changed completely. 3 different observatories, using 3 different methods, finally caught sight of what had been hiding there all along. And what they found was not just a companion star. It was something quietly eating its way through Betelgeuse itself. Betelgeuse sits about 650 light years from Earth, in the shoulder of the constellation Orion. It's a red supergiant near the end of its life, so enormous that if you dropped it into our solar system in place of the Sun, its outer edge would reach out past the orbit of Jupiter. You can see it without a telescope, glowing a faint orange, and people have watched it shift in brightness for thousands of years. But Betelgeuse does not pulse on just one rhythm. Layered on top of its main 400-day heartbeat is a second, slower wobble, one that repeats roughly every 6 years. Nobody could explain that second rhythm. It became one of the longest-running puzzles in modern astronomy. The idea of a hidden companion is not new. Nearly a century ago, astronomers noticed that Betelgeuse's 6-year cycle looked less like something happening inside the star and more like something orbiting around it. A smaller star, they guessed, tugging at Betelgeuse's outer layers as it circled. But any companion faint enough to stay hidden this long would have to sit almost directly inside Betelgeuse's glare. At a distance, no instrument could resolve. For decades, the theory just sat there, unproven and untestable. In 2019, Betelgeuse did something unexpected. It dimmed dramatically, in what astronomers later described as a kind of stellar sneeze, a burst of ejected material that temporarily darkened its light. The event made headlines and sent scientists back into the star's archives, searching old data for anything they had missed. That renewed interest brought the companion theory back to life. Researchers pointed the Hubble Space Telescope and the Chandra X-ray Observatory at Betelgeuse, hunting for any trace of a partner star. They found nothing. Then, in 2024, 2 independent research teams tried something clever. They modeled the suspected orbit and calculated exactly when the companion would swing out to its farthest point from Betelgeuse's blinding light, far enough to possibly be seen. The answer, December of that year. Astronomers did not wait. Using a speckle imaging camera called ALAPEAK on the Gemini North telescope in Hawaii, a team led by NASA astrophysicist Steve Howell captured something that had never been seen before, a faint point of light sitting almost on top of Betelgeuse. The companion was real and finally photographed. The numbers were startling. This was not a distant, loosely bound partner star. It orbited at a distance only about 4 times what separates Earth from the Sun. So close that it was already moving inside Betelgeuse's own outer atmosphere. No one had ever seen a close companion like this orbiting a supergiant before. Then the picture got stranger. Around the same observing window, a separate team pointed the European Southern Observatory's very large telescope at Betelgeuse using an extreme high-contrast imaging system called spare Zimpel. It took months to process the data, but the resulting image was the sharpest anyone had ever captured, and it revealed the companion was more massive than predicted. 2 to 3 times the mass of our Sun, not the one solar mass long assumed. The bigger surprise came from Hubble. Watching Betelgeuse for nearly 8 years, a team led by astronomer Andrea Dupree found something else moving through the star's atmosphere. A dense, swirling wake of gas, carved out by the companion as it physically plows through Betelgeuse's outer layers. Like a boat cutting a trail through water, roughly every 6 years. That wake solved the mystery. It explained the 6-year brightness cycle and the strange shifts in Betelgeuse's spectrum, all in one motion. The companion, now informally named Siwarha, is not simply orbiting Betelgeuse. It's living inside it, dragging through the star's atmosphere on every pass. Drag like that does not last forever. Scientists studying the system believe Betelgeuse will eventually pull its companion in completely, consuming it within the next few thousand years, long before Betelgeuse itself ends its life as a supernova. What that final plunge will actually look like, and whether other aging supergiants are hiding companions of their own, is something astronomers are only beginning to investigate. For every night someone has looked up and watched Betelgeuse flicker against the winter sky, there's been a second, smaller star quietly being consumed inside it. We just could not see it. Now we can, and what we're watching is a slow-motion ending that started long before telescopes existed and won't finish for thousands of years after we're gone. Betelgeuse was never really alone. It just took us 100 years to notice who else was there.